6-3 decision. Supreme Court rules race-based affirmative action programs are unconstitutional and violate the 14th Amendment. Now, this is not blanket. This is just to do with race-based college admissions.
But it's opening the door.
This will be the first domino.
Yeah. And the next one I want to see them go after is the affirmative action for women.
Yep.
I mean, it's so ridiculous. They have all of the benefits and options, and then they get a lot of that at the expense of men.
Yep. Wah, wah, wah. It's been hilarious watching the the ring about this whole thing. It cracks me up, makes me laugh.
Yeah. And over the next couple days, you're going to start to see a lot of videos of them whining and crying about it.
Oh yeah, big time. Well, the New York Slimes really stepped in it. Here's their response here. Now, see if you can break this down the way that I did. Mm-hmm. Breaking news. The Supreme Court rejected affirmative action at Harvard and UNC. The major ruling curtails race-conscious college admissions in the U.S. You mean racist college admissions in the U.S.?
That's exactly what it is.
All but ensuring that elite institutions will become whiter and more Asian and less black and Latino.
So what they're indirectly saying there is...
What they're indirectly saying is, if we go back to a meritocratic system, we, the race-conscious ones, don't think you can hack it.
That's kind of insulting.
That sounds very white supreme pizza to me.
That's pretty insulting. I'm just saying. And listen, in a capitalist society where time equals money, you got to have the best people for the job that you can possibly find.
Yeah.
And, picking people because they're an innie or an outie or they have different colored skin to fill these roles, guess what? You're affecting your bottom line down the road.
Exactly.
And that makes all the difference if you'll stay in business or not.
Yeah.
Jesus.
There are differences between races, just like there are differences between the sexes. Men and women are not, in general, good at the same stuff. Mm-hmm. Just like whites and blacks tend not to be good at the same stuff.
Well,
that's a good thing, though.
Well, I mean, one of the things I noticed in the military is white guys handle the cold way better than African Americans.
Oh, really?
And they swim better.
I was wondering when you were going to get to that.
Oh no, Ranger School. I watched over 100 guys jump in, and only like 4 or 5 could do it.
Damn.
And those guys are brave motherfuckers because they know they can't swim. They still jumped off the tide.
Hey, good for them.
And I'm like, ooh, yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's the true diversity. It's embracing the biological and sociological facts of what we can all accomplish, focusing on our strengths.
Yeah.
Instead of pretending that these differences don't exist when they so obviously do.
Or it's racist that they do exist.
Yeah.
Like, i.e., when the COVID thing was going crazy and it was affecting the people of color community more savagely.
Yeah, world pandemic, black people most affected. I love those.
Yeah, and it's literally linked to vitamin D. And the reason the vitamin D levels are so low is because we're not at the latitude where they can get vitamin D from the sun.
I know. I already made the joke about black single mamas getting their vitamin D on Tuesday, so I'll just play this again. It's all good. It's all good. It just cracks me up.
Yeah, and
this whole thing.
People are going to call us racist for just stating the obvious.
I don't give a shit. I mean, these are people who literally their entire role is to try to keep the gravy train of this grift on the tracks. Why do you think they keep changing the rules?
And the definitions to words.
Exactly. Well, back in the 60s, colored was the big slur. You can't call anybody colored. That's racist. All right, fine. Okay, I won't call them colored. What do you want to be called? Well, you're black or African American. Okay, that's fine. And now all of a sudden, it's people of color because they're not actually African. Well, I was saying that for years, and you called me a bigot for pointing out that they're not actually from Africa because everybody was born here. We're all American. Why can't we just all be part of the same country? Well, yeah.
And that also that cultural appropriation stuff. like, well, you're a Caucasian, you can't have Chinese food.
My braids are not your hairstyle. Well, braids actually came from the Vikings.
Yes.
And if you want to talk about cultural appropriation, when was the last time you went to a weave shop? I'm just asking.
Yeah, and listen, when I was younger, I was a walking garbage scow for food, and I loved Mexican food.
And Evil Pop has not outgrown being a garbage scow for food.
And Chinese food. I mean, I ate whatever, and I would just be like, it would have ruined me if they're like, I'm sorry, but you can only eat toad in a hole. Well, that's an English thing, and it sounds like a butthole with a turd.
It really does.
Or spotted dick.
Oh man,
that sounds like King Henry the Fourth's syphilis infested penis.
Ugh, I got got.
I don't. No, I like food.
But seriously, look at this stuff, though, man. Like, how insane did Harvard's affirmative action policies get before we go too deep into the woods?
Okay.
An African-American student, sorry, I hate when that does that, in the 40th percentile is more likely to get admitted than an Asian in the 100th percentile.
All right. Now, what you're doing with this old policy is you're saddling these guys with a lot of debt. And when they get into the real world, because let's face it, the real world doesn't care about your feelings or your skin color. It cares about performance. They won't be able to perform at the level that they should coming out of an Ivy League school.
Exactly.
And they're hit.
I mean, this is it in black and white, figuratively and literally. The only remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination. The only remedy to present discrimination is future discrimination. Who is this piece of shit?
So that's what they want.
It is.
They want to discriminate forever.
And they claim it's not discrimination.
Yeah.
Well, you can't discriminate against the privileged class. Well, we're not privileged.
Well, that's another thing. I can't discriminate because get the hell out of here. Just the minute you're making decisions based on race, you're discriminating.
Yes.
Or sex. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Martin Luther King was like, hey, make decisions, based on, judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin.
Yeah.
We agreed on that for over 40 years.
And a lot of people died during those marches to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. And now, that asshole who was on the Young Turds, you say, well, if you say that you don't see race, what I hear is I'm a racist.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a racist if I don't see color, and I'm a racist if I do see color.
Correct.
There's no winning.
There's no upside. There's no upside to that at all.
Just like there's no upside to this administration.
The
Biden decided to come out and say that the Supreme Court wasn't a normal court because they struck down one of his political party's most useful tools.
Mr. Biden, the Congressional Black Caucus said the Supreme Court has thrown into question its own legitimacy. Is this a rogue court?
No. A rogue court?
Yep. This is not a normal court.
You're right. It's the court. And
he's saying it's not normal because he didn't get the outcome
because he didn't get
wanted.
what he wanted. What I find hysterically funny is that the Supreme Court just struck down affirmative action with its newest member, an affirmative action hire. That woman can kiss my ass right in the crack.
What a kick in the junk.
Oh, man. And what's hilarious is that if you cheer this on, they're going to say that you're cheering on white supreme pizza and everything like that. Oh, you must believe in the great replacement conspiracy theory. Well, it's not a conspiracy theory. Because from these same institutions that just had their affirmative action policies struck down, you have this. From Harvard Magazine, 6 months ago. Make no mistake about it. We intend to keep bashing the dead white males and the live ones and the females too until the social construct known as the white race is destroyed. Not deconstructed, but destroyed.
Listen, we're seeing the left tip their hand.
Yep.
They want to groom your kids. They want to, segregate the nation again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to lead to nothing but violence.
Exactly. I mean, how many people died? How many people laid it all on the line to get rid of the discrimination?
I mean, there's guys who spent their lives in prison down south for just, with trumped up charges for just protesting because they wanted, equality.
Yep.
That's bullshit.
What more proof do you need that the parties never switched sides? Democrats were the party of the KKK, Jim Crow laws, segregation, anti-busing, all this shit.
Yeah.
Joe Biden and his racial jungle comments and all that stuff. And now Democrats, 60 years later, are trying to bring it all back. But because the people who are screaming for it are brown, suddenly it's okay.
Well, and I was looking online about, I think it was last year, about filibustering. And there's actually a database out there that records every instance of filibustering that happened in the Senate.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's almost universally Democrat.
Between the end of the Civil War and I think 1975, a large majority of it was Democrats.
Yep.
And it all revolved around race, problems.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter whether it was 100 years ago or this afternoon. This is what the left sounds like.
Yep.
Every time they don't get what they want.
That just gave me a migraine.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the meat caser box.